Alright, what's going on, guys? Chaz here, back with some more racing action. I know it's been a while, but hey, that's life. This crit takes place in Livermore, California. I'm up in NorCal. It's a 70-minute crit. Our squad today is me, Greg, Miles, and Tyler. Also the first race where we finally got those new, fresh-looking kits. Super excited. A little breakdown of this crit. My peak 1 second was 11:12. My 1 minute was 5:02. My 10 minute was 3:53. My hour was 2:95. It was a fast race. We averaged around 28 miles an hour for the entirety of the race. Basically, as a team, our goal was to try and get in a break due to not having our sprinter. So anytime a break went, basically what we wanted to do is we wanted to just follow wheels, and then eventually later in the race we would get more aggressive and start some of those breaks. So right here we have Miles on the right. He goes with the first one. They start to go and he follows the wheel, so I don't have to worry. Greg and Tyler over here on my left, we just kind of chill. I'm like, I'm gonna sit over here. This guy starts to bridge and I go, okay, now the pack is motivated. I mean, we're still on like lap 2 or lap 3, so why not just kind of get motivated and go with the pack? So that one gets brought back. But outside of that, Turmon had a lot of guys, which is the team in pink here. There's a guy going off the front over there on the left. So this is where Miles was up on the front right, and I was seeing if he was gonna go with that. He didn't go with it, so I had to follow it, which is totally fine because that's what we have to do. We'd rather us kind of go and, alternate, if you would. So it was my turn. I hesitated just a bit to make sure that he wasn't going to go, and he didn't. So then I went and bridged across. And then once we got here, I honestly thought this would be a good group because there's one Turmon rider up the road. There's their sprinter right in front of me. And then there is A-Main, I believe their performance bike this year. They're in the black kit with the kind of colored stripes. Then there's a SBC rider. Honestly, right now, all of the main teams are represented, which this is what was really weird. During the entirety of this race, all of the main teams were represented, but it just never worked out. Not really sure why. I mean, it happens like that sometimes. But anyways, so we start to get caught by the field, and that's when I realized I have to counter because the field is chasing hard and we were in a break and we were going pretty good. And as soon as the field catches us, that's a perfect time to launch another attack because they're going to catch you and they're going to be like, thank goodness we caught them. They're going to sit up and kind of relax. So with that, that's why I decided to counter right now, and I'm hoping someone would come with me. But at first, no one came with me. So in my head, I'm like, you know what? No one came with you. You just got to keep going and hope that someone does bridge across. Someone does try to come across. I mean, we've had a really good year as a team, so it wouldn't surprise me if someone actually tried to come across to us and realized that, hey, Ride Bikes is actually doing really well. They have a lot of podiums this year. They're doing well in the standings overall for NorCal. So why would we would be stupid to not want to mark some of their riders and follow their team. So that's kind of what I had in my head. So I went. Again, I was solo for a while, but coming up here pretty quick, I think I finally get caught, and it's gonna be by, who is it by? I believe it's a Turmon rider that's gonna come up and catch me, which honestly I'm so relieved because look how many watts I'm doing and how fast I'm going. It's just a little bit of a headwind here, a little head crosswind, just not a lot of fun. Yeah, here we go. This is going to be Dominic from Turmon. He's actually an old teammate of mine when I was on Muscle Milk Specialized. So this guy, I know he's strong. I was super pumped to see him come across. This is beautiful. He does a killer dig pull right here, deep pull, and I'm in his draft, and I am just fresh as a daisy now sitting in his draft. But this is what we want. So now I'm across. I have Turmon, which is the second biggest team in the field, and at this point I'm going, okay, hey, maybe their team's gonna block for us, so this is good. And as we keep going, I mean, he's taking a long pull, and I'm like, dude, whenever you want, flick your elbow, I'll come through. No worries. But Dom is a strong rider. I'd have to argue that he's very comparable to my type of riding style and my strengths right now. So I was super excited. I mean, right now you got like 2 breakaway guys on the break. Like, this is awesome. This is what I wanted. This is looking really good for our team. But anyways, he does a massive pull, and I'm like, bro, anytime, like, okay, I'll take over. I'm fresh. I take over. I probably got a little gung-ho though and punched it a little too hard, but at the same time, I was like, dude, we got to make this thing stick. I'm all in with you. You got a team represented. We got a team represented. Like, the odds are in our favor now. So if anything, too, Performance Bikes is going to have to chase. A couple other solo riders are going to have to chase. That means Miles, Greg, and Tyler are all sitting fresh like daisies in the field. And that actually is going to help us out quite a bit. But eventually, we get caught. Our boy Alex right here, Alex from Ascend Racing, he's out of my area, Fresno, California. He's a pretty darn good sprinter. He joins us, and then Performance Bikes joins us. So now we have a makeup of 4 guys, and this is where I'm super excited because this is like all the major teams. Now, this Performance Bike guy, he was getting me a little frustrated. I almost feel like he didn't know how to ride in the breakaway. So next time he takes a pull, I'll break down, how you're actually supposed to rotate in a breakaway. But he was kind of screwing up a rotation, which made it hard for us to work. But now that there's 4 of us, all 4 of us are in. I know Alex is all in because Alex is riding pretty much solo. Actually, he had his buddy Joe Chacon, his teammate, in the field. But other than that, Alex is solo. So, for him to be up the road, he's all in. Dom's up here from Turmon. He's all in. I'm up here from Ride Bikes. I'm all in. I don't know who this other guy is from Performance Bikes. He wasn't really all in. He was taking a lot of short pulls. He touches the front for not even a second and pulls off to the left. He's done. But his rotating was weird. Look, he goes and he takes over and he jumps on Alex's wheel, and Alex wasn't done. So it forced Dom into the wind, and then he came back and he did the same thing to me. He jumped on Dom's wheel, and I'm like, dude, just fall all the way to the back and jump on my wheel. Don't push each of us off the rider's wheel in front of us, because now you're forcing us to get in the wind, use energy, come around and get back on that wheel. See, we came out of the corner and Alex flicks. He takes a little wide there, which is totally fine, but he drops straight back. And then Dom pulls, and then when Dom is going to be done, he's going to give me a little flick, and he's going to let me come through, which, seriously, Dom is strong, super excited he's with us. I don't want him to burn all of his matches. So then I come around, I take a pull. At this point, the performance dude behind me kind of was like, hey, take easier pulls. Let's rotate better and get more. What did he say? I can't remember what he said, but I realized like the chemistry really wasn't there. There was 3 of us that were all in, and then there was 1 guy that wasn't. So when I realized that, I knew that we weren't gonna make it. We were just gonna be butting heads the whole time, all 3 of us versus him. So that's when I decided pull plug. See, he does it here. He takes over again. Alex isn't done, and then he goes and he takes over on Dom's wheel again. Like, the chemistry just isn't there. We're not cohesive as a group. We're not flowing right. He's kind of messing up our rotation a little bit. If you ever get in a breakaway, that's a do not. Just don't do that. When you're done with your pull, just drop all the way back immediately. Yes, ride close to the riders and use them as a draft to keep, so you can kind of keep momentum, but just drop to the back. There's no reason to push the guy behind you off unless you're gonna pull again, just drop all the way to the back. So that made it a little tough for us. It totally botched our chemistry. If it was me, Dom, and Alex, I think we would have worked really well together, and we could have rolled it really good. But it just wasn't in the cards, and we're still relatively early in this race. I mean, we're like 5.5 miles in. See, again, he's gonna take a pull for like 3 seconds and then pull off, while the rest of us are pulling around, 15 to 20 seconds. We've had some guys catch us. So then at that point, when people started catching us and I looked back, the field was right on us. That's when I knew it was over. And then Miles counterattacks out of the field. A Tarun rider goes with him. So right now we got the 2 biggest teams up the road. So again, I mean, this is what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to do this. Like, when we get caught, someone needs a counterattack. Right here, he goes, signals to his team to follow, to bridge across, and that just totally gives it away to me. And I go, okay, they're gonna have someone go right now. Sure enough, right there on the left, boom, there goes Performance Bikes. I look back and the field's pretty strung out and giving up. So then I go, this is a safe move to jump onto. So I go and I jump up to this move, and right now I have a gap on the field. I'm actually debating blowing past this guy and kind of attacking over the top of the break. But I don't want to do that to Miles, so I just kind of come up here and sit on their wheels, and everything starts to kind of come back together. And I look behind me, and the field is chasing hard at this point, and the field's starting to catch on, which again, this break, this has the makeup of all the teams to go, but it doesn't work out. We start to get caught by the field. The Turmon development rider, Brian, who also used to be on my Muscle Milk team back in the day, a couple years ago, he attacks, and right there I'm like, well, someone else just attacked. That's a great move to counter with, plus the field is tired from chasing, so maybe we'll break the elastic band on them a little bit. So then I go and I follow Brian, and I know Brian really well. I know his strengths. He's always been someone who's been good in the breakaway. So I know this is a solid rider to follow. So immediately I know that he's all in, because something interesting is, yes, there's the Turmon team who's all pink, and then there is the Turmon development team, which is blue. And I don't know what the huge difference is. I mean, one's obviously the elite team and one's the development team. So I think probably the elite team gets a little bit more support and stuff for racing and whatnot. And the other team is more kind of like the club level. But nonetheless, Brian is extremely strong and probably deserves to be on the elite team. But anyways, I know that he is all in, because him and Turmon, they're not technically working together as one unit. Since they're different jerseys, they have to be as different teams. So at that point I go, okay, I know he's all in, but Turmon's probably gonna chase, which then this right here is the nice little break, little bridge effort to us. And now we got a solid group of guys that are ready to work. But a couple more guys bridge up to us, and we have like a 10-man break. It's getting a little bit big. The field doesn't really like that all that much. The field's gonna be chasing. As a 10-man squad, we really didn't work well together. I mean, we worked well, but we didn't really get in a rotation. Had we gotten in a rotation and did quick, short pulls and just went all out, I think we would have been extremely dangerous, but that is not what we did. So it made it really hard for us to stay away. But I mean, we're trying to see, they're just too long of pulls. Like, if we would have done shorter pulls, I think we could have possibly stayed away for the entirety of the race. But the other thing too is, when you get in a breakaway that's this big, I mean, it's really hard for everyone to work, because then they're going to see, hey, there's 10 guys here. Why do I have to do all the work? Why don't the other 9 guys help out and do the majority of the work too? So that's the issue we're running into. Right here, this guy pulls off the front. I mean, everyone's just kind of not really motivated. I mean, look, everyone wants to be in the break, but no one really wants to ride. And for me, I'm not gonna go all out, because I've been doing that. And right here, we get caught by the field, and another Turmon dude goes, and Miles is attentive at the front, and he goes with them, and Miles counters, and now we got Turmon and Miles off the front, which is honestly what we want. That's what we're playing for. See, again, his performance is asking for someone to go up the road. At this point though, Miles and that Turmon dude, like, they're far up the road. Like, they're gonna pretty much be gone. But you know, people get motivated, they go again. So this is my job. I just follow wheels and stay towards the front, try to sit in and save as much energy as possible, jump on this guy's wheel. And that's what I do. And this right here is the final corner into like the sprint finish. Fun little corner. But yeah, I mean, that's basically my job, is just to follow wheels once one of us gets off the front. And that's what we did. So Miles and I were just doing a fantastic job at going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Never skipped a beat. Right here I got Greg, our teammate. He's right up here in front of us. Miles and those guys, I believe, are they off the front? No, I think we brought them back. So at this point, I'm gonna move over to the right, because I'm thinking about attacking, and then that's when a Turmon dude attacks and the performance guy goes, and I go, yep, I'm reading this move correctly. This has a good ability to stay away. It's got all the major teams represented. So again, I'm gonna jump on this wheel, and I'm gonna go with it and just see what we can do with this. Can we make lemonade out of lemons? I don't know. We're gonna see what we can do. But we come out of that corner, and they both easily sit up, and I realize, all right, yeah, we're not really all in. And instantly the pack catches us, and just like that, that move is over. But again, you gotta follow wheels, because you never know what's gonna happen. So fast forward though, at this point, I think things are still just kind of pretty much together. I mean, we've had so many threatening moves, so many big groups go off the front, nothing happened. Again, over here, Turmon goes. This guy in front of me is Chris Cobble. He's extremely strong, so I follow him, of course, because I know that one, he's a solid little sprinter. Was not little, but he's a solid sprinter, and two, he's dangerous in a breakaway. Like, he could really drive a breakaway and get that going. So I follow this one because I know if Turmon would have went solo, I probably would let it go, but I followed it. Didn't work out. We got caught. It is what it is, but again, I mean, you just got to be attentive and you gotta follow moves, and that was our team, right? We didn't have Nick, our sprinter, so our best bet for winning was to get in a move. We didn't really have anyone that we really wanted to really put all our eggs in one basket in for sprinting, so we had to get up the road. And again, here, people are just kind of going, and I'm just kind of following. I think Miles might be up there on the front driving this a little bit. Actually, I don't think he is. But again, I follow the move, and then it turns into another attack, and I'm perfectly set up. So I keep reading the move, and I follow I believe this is Dulce Vita in front of us. I follow that team who's following the other two guys who are going off the front. I mean, this is just easy wheels to stay on and follow, but the key is you have to ride towards the front. If you're not riding towards the front, it's gonna be extremely hard to be in the right position to catch all these moves. So I was about, anywhere from 5 to 8 riders back all the time throughout this race, and I would jump on these moves. So that one actually kind of developed into a little bit of a break, but it doesn't last very long. It doesn't really work out for us, and we're gonna get caught. But so when we're about ready to get caught, that's when I know, hey, again, we got to keep the pressure on. We got to counter. Feels tired. He flicks. I go. Like, that is the perfect time to counter because I saw that the field was behind us. So right here is where I'm going to go and put in a pretty deep dig and just kind of get that gap open up. And then I'm going to hold it and just keep accelerating. Like I said, we really wanted to get into a break today. That's what we wanted in order to win, or at least try to get on the podium, was to do it via breakaway. And the field, I don't know, it was a weird race. Every time we got in a break, everyone was represented. It always got brought back. I mean, up to this point, everything's been brought back. Super weird. So again, I get up the road, and there's a couple of these guys, and I believe the field, actually no, the field didn't catch on, but here we go. I'm in a break with 3 other guys. But we're not really pushing. The vibe was everyone wanted to be in the break, but no one wanted to do the work, which, I mean, that's bike racing, right? That happens. So, honestly, we're doing 26, 27. I know we're going to get caught, and we do. And sure enough, over here on the left, here comes the pack. We get caught. At this point, I'm just going to kind of cycle back a little bit. There goes Miles. Cycle back and then jump in on some wheels and just rest up and get ready for the next one. At this point, it would be Miles' turn to either counterattack or go with the next attack. So that's in my head, that's what I know has to be done. Miles looks back, sees what's going on with the field, realizes the field's barely on. So then he goes, and I'm like, sweet, I'll totally let that go. And then Chris Cobble goes. I know Chris is really strong. I'm like, oh shoot. Let's stack that break. Let's get 2 of us in that with Chris. That way we have a chance against him. And so that's what I do. I bridge across. The field doesn't stick with me. Like, I open up a gap and I bridge across to this, and fairly easy. And then we get on to this. But again, Miles is on the front. He's kind of driving the pace. Tarun's on the front. He's driving the pace. Miles is there. Then we got Chris Cobble from Olympic Club. He's here. And then there's me. I mean, this is a really good makeup of a break. Now, all of us have to get on the same terms together and be like, look, let's drive this thing. Come out of this corner, and, Miles is kind of looking around, and he's not really sure. And then he starts to drive. He sees we have a gap. He sees that I'm there. Then I start to go. I think Dom was a little confused. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let that go a little bit, because why do I have to close that down? So then a couple more guys come across. I can't remember if the field was on us or not. I think we're still kind of broken apart from the field, but it just didn't work out. Eventually we got caught. It is what it is. So that's what happens. But right here, we're trying to figure out, you know, what do we do here? Another break goes. Miles is right here. I'm right here. But then you see Greg is up there. He's kind of in the middle of all those guys. He's the darker dude. Greg covered it. So Greg is now off the front in that move. Me and Miles are on the front. We're like, you know what? I'm okay with that. He's okay with that. Greg's up the road. Tyler's in the group somewhere. So now we're gonna sit in and we're gonna let the group honestly probably pull this break back because that's what they've been doing all day long. So now we're not worried. We're sitting up here, catching the draft. I mean, as a pack, we're going really slow. They're definitely opening up a gap off the front. Eventually, though, the pack is chasing. We fast forward a little bit to a lap or two later. Pack's chasing that group up the road. I mean, we're not going that fast, but that group up the road is not going anywhere. They're just not working together. They're kind of tired. And this is where people start to go, hey, we could bridge to that. So I follow wheels and bridge across. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do, just follow wheels. There's a free ride across. I'm gonna take that free ride across. See, the break though, is just a little too big. Just a little bit too big. No one wants to work. I just keep following wheels to the front. Greg from our team is up here. You know, no one's really working. It's kind of weird. So at this point, I'm like, okay, someone's gonna counter, so I need to go with it. And right here, Chris Cobble from Olympic Club, he goes to counter. I go, that's a great move. I'm down with that. I follow, stay on his wheel. He does a pretty good dig on the backside here. Tends to be a little bit of a headwind right here, head crosswind. So he does a little bit of a good dig. I then go, hey, I'm in, so I'll work. So I take over. I pull. I think the field was pretty close to us at this point. Again, they just weren't really letting us get any daylight. Kind of sucked, but that's racing, right? What are you gonna do? But sure enough, yeah, I mean, here's the field coming through. Or actually, no, we get picked up some more guys in our break. Now there's 5 of us. I know Brian's willing to work. I know Chris is willing to work. I know I'm willing to work. That SGBC guy on the front looked like he was willing to work. But again, eventually, you know, we just aren't going fast enough. I mean, if you look at our speed, 23 miles an hour, we need to be doing more like 27 to 29 miles an hour if we want to get any daylight and stay away. So then we start to get caught by the pack. Again, Tarun Rider goes. No one goes with that. I probably should have let it go. And then there goes Alex. I'm like, And then all of a sudden Miles goes, and I'm like, sweet. Miles goes, also on the front, patrol, kind of let things open up, let the field chase. I start to get swallowed up by the field, which is totally fine. The field starts to chase, and that's basically what happens. I mean, that's what you have to do there. So Miles is now up the road, driving the brake. Field is now tired, and basically I'm just kind of chasing wheels and just doing what I have to do. But this was just kind of overall the same thing that happened all day long. All 70 minutes of this race was really good breakaways getting up the road, and then no one really getting anywhere and the pack pulling them back. So Miles is in a 3-man break. They're barely dangling off the front. They're slowing down. We're starting to catch them. So I go, you know what? I'm going to attack over the top. I'm going to counter over this break. So that's what I do. So I go on the right side. I go pretty deep. See, they're all kind of fanned out, not really working. I go deep. I come around them really fast. And then I basically just keep going through that corner. They get absorbed by the pack. But now I got a couple more people on my wheel. And now we're going to see if this break works or not. But honestly, I mean, what do you guys think? It's not going to work, right? The field is just super motivated. It was crazy. It was a weird race. It was kind of weird. I didn't realize everyone wanted to come to a sprint. But we kept trying. I mean, that was our team goal. So we just kept trying for that break. And honestly, that's all you can hope for. So I got up front and I realized, like, I'm not going anywhere that keep me pretty darn close. So I'm gonna let off the gas. And no one was trying to bridge to me either. So I'm just gonna let off the gas, let the pack catch me. So I'll slide back in and then see what happens. These guys kind of catch and counter. and the field kind of lets him go, and they keep the gap open with me. So I'm like, okay, well now I'm gonna try to bridge across to that, and now that's a good move. And then Chris Cobble goes. Of course, I'm like, well, if Chris is going across to that, Miles is in here, Greg is in here, Tyler is in here, so I'll just keep getting across to this, and then we'll have a good little break here. So I jump on the SBC rider, and he just kind of like lets it go, which I wasn't really sure why, because the group wasn't behind us yet. So I come around him, move up. Again, this is the Turmon sprinter, Matthew. I mean, he's in the break, but the other thing we had an issue with was Turmon was kind of chasing back all of their riders. Like anytime one of the riders would get up the field, up the road in a break, there's always, you look back and there's Turmon riders on the front chasing. So that really did shoot down a lot of our breakaways. I know Chris Cobble during the race was yelling at them a little bit, like, why are you chasing back your own guys? And they just kind of looked down like, what? But I mean, it happens. Teams will do that from time to time. Maybe they have a reason for it. Who knows? Maybe they're actually trying to keep it together to bring a sprint finish for their sprinter. But that was their sprinter. So I don't, a little confused on that. But anyways, fast forward. Here's a good little break going. Little move goes over there on the left. Turmon swings over to cover it. Miles is off the front. I'm going to swing over to kind of slow down the pack. I'm going to let this go because Miles is up the road. Miles is a strong rider right now. He's had a really good season. He's on my team. I have no reason to chase. I'm going to let the pack chase that down. So I'm just going to kind of slip back, sit in the group, and relax a bit as they again go after that break and start to pull that one back. So this is we're now over the halfway point. I believe this was about a 30-mile race is what we ended up doing, but we're over the halfway point. Again, the field is just kind of it's weird. Like we went pretty hard. I mean, 28-mile-an-hour average. I mean, we pretty much had the gas on the full time, but it wasn't like we just went steady. It was a lot of surge. It was a lot of attack, bring them back, relax. Right here, Greg's on the front. He looks at me, and I look at Greg, and he realizes I'm going to go and bridge to this. So then Greg kind of sits up and holds the field back. I bridge across to this because we didn't have anyone represented in this one. So I bridge across. That's my job. Miles had just finished bridging in a previous move, so now it's my turn. Bridge across. Again, it's a great makeup of riders. We're riding really fast. All the teams are represented, but it just is not going to work out. Like I get across into this move, and honestly, I look back and I see the field is chasing hard, and I realize, this move might not work either. And see Dominic's going pretty hard in the front there, and the performance dude's just kind of letting the gap open up. I don't understand why. Like, I don't know. It is what it is, though. That's how people were racing that day. So then he takes over. Performance Bike takes over. They start doing the pull. I get on his wheel, looking good. All right, well, we're still going pretty fast. We still have a decent gap. He goes through the corner. It's going to be my turn to pull. So he goes through and kind of soft pedals. My turn. I take a pull. I take a decently hard pull. Keep the speed up. I mean, that's what you have to do. We still have a gap on the field, looking really good. There's 4 of us, so I'm gonna take a shorter pull. So then I move over, start to let the other guy come through. And here is Timmy. Timmy used to be on our team last year, super strong rider. At this point though, the field the field didn't catch us. This was a huge breakaway. I jump on the back. I mean, it looks like, again, this is a huge break. It looks like we have a fantastic makeup to get this one to stick. Everyone is represented from all the teams, but the problem we have here is we're just not rotating fast enough. Like, as a unit, we're all strung out. One guy's doing a massive pull in the front. Like, we're just not rotating fast enough. And eventually right here, we're kind of breaking up and it's a little awkward. So this is where Timmy was on my wheel and I tell him, hey, go with me, I'm gonna counter. And right when I start to go, Dominic from Turmon, he also goes. So I stay wide on the right so no one from that group can jump on my wheel. Once I get clear of them, I come across and I jump on Dominic's wheel. And right now I got Timmy and like a couple other guys on my wheel. Dominic takes a pretty big pull. I realize, hey, we need to go a little bit faster in this. So then I hunker in and I take a pretty deep dig here to try and just open up some room between us and the field. And about halfway through the straightaway, I looked back and I just lost everyone off my wheel. So I gotta slow up a bit and wait for them to catch back on, because I can't do this alone. I can't solo to the line alone. So I'm kind of sitting up a little bit, waiting for them to come back. We still have a gap on the field. Right here, it's SJBC rider. He does a good pull. It's just me and Dom at this point. I'm like, sweet. I'm catching back on, so I jump on the SJBC rider, and for some reason he lets Dominic go. Like, what's up with that? We're in the break and then he lets Dominic go. I was very confused. I was like, we had a 3-man breakaway and you just let one of us ride away. Okay. So at that point I go, well, we're gonna get caught by the pack, so I'm not worried about it. Someone else from our group will counter and go with it. Sure enough, here comes the pack, and we're all coming back together. The whole pack as an entirety chases it back, so it's not a big deal. So now we're coming into 1 lap to go. All right, it's been a 70-minute crit, super hard, just covering a lot of attacks, very fast, lots of explosiveness. So we're coming into 1 to go. We're trying to like set up kind of a lead out train. At this point, it's like, well, maybe I'm the best bet. But then again, I'm not the best sprinter either. We don't really have anyone to do a sprint finish. We're all together. So we're trying to figure out, like, what do we want to do? We were very unsure. Right there is Miles. Miles does this awesome dig up the inside of the gutter. He gets off the front into that corner first. He then comes out of the corner and he takes off sprinting. So at this point, we're coming into 1 to go right now. Miles goes with a solo flyer on the last lap. That's what he does. So 1 to go, just cross the line. Miles has a gap off the front. He is smashing, and he is trying to do a solo flyer and just stay away. We as a field are flying behind him. So it's like, dude, is he gonna make it? What's gonna happen? At this point too, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I get back to the front to even like have an ability to contest the sprint and get in the top 5? I'm totally screwed because I'm too far back. Our team is totally not together. Tyler did his last pull with like 2 to go or 3 to go. So it's just me and Greg at this point. I don't know where Greg is. He's in here somewhere. And then Miles is solo flyer off the front. I come out here because I'm like, I have to move up to the front. If I'm not in the top 5 going into this next corner, then the race is over for me. So I'm just trying to go as hard as I can down this straightaway, which is a headwind. And I'm like, you know what? I need to move to the front. So I'm going as hard as I can. I start to move to the front. Chris Cobble starts to go right here. I go, that's perfect. And right there, that A-man dude, performance bike, just finishes pull and pulls off and goes wide and just kills my momentum. And I lost the wheel of Chris Cobble, and I came out of that corner so much slower than everyone else, and I started going backwards, and it just totally wrecked my sprint. It's so hard to accelerate when everyone else is already doing like 35, 36. Like, you can't accelerate from 32 to 36 and still have a kick. So bummed. That's racing though. That was my fault for being so far back, but that's what happens. But Miles stayed away, and he gets caught right at the line, and he takes second. Turmon, they ended up winning the race, but overall, we got on the box. Miles got second. Super tough. I came in like 20th is what I got. I think Greg from our team came in around 15th. Again, Tyler was having some knee issues today, so he finished his last team pull around. He got kind of towards the front around 3 to go, and then he just kind of sat up and just rode in. Tough race. I mean, I felt like as a team we were in control the whole time, but breakaway just wasn't working today. It is what it is, but hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hey, keep training hard, riding hard. Bikes are not canceled right now, which is really fun. Perfect time to get a lot of base training back in to get ready for the season if it ever does come back. But keep training hard and running hard, and I will catch you guys on the next video.